You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
I thought I could talk over the music. I've been
No,
doing
you
that.
can't.
Only at the end.
Can we change the theme?
No, I like it.
Do you?
Yep.
Why? It's disco. It's rubbish. You want something
What do you want?
meaningful.
Do you want a bit of Vera Lynn, do you?
No, a bit of Vangelis. John and Vangelis.
Just for your information, you two bozos, we're on air.
Okay.
This is not just a chat behind the scenes.
Are you doing an intro or we off and running?
Until Don got over the disco music as the intro, I was going to say we're back on for part 2, having just spoken to David Hayes.
Yep.
And I don't want to steal anyone else's guest because Ralph Horowitz is on after us in his own podcast, but another very, very prominent man in the racing industry has walked in, and we're going to ask him 1 or 2 questions. You can ask him about ring bits under the tongue, Don.
No, I'd like to ask him
Peter
about...
Moody.
I'd like to
and
ask...
you introduce who Peter Moody is.
Well, Peter Moody is a suburban cricketer who comes from south of Charleville. I don't know the name of the place, but I've been through it, and it's got a hotel, and that's it. I think the hotel burnt down too, Peter, didn't it?
No, it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Is it Peter Moody, the cricketer we're speaking to.
Yeah, Peter Moody, the cricketer. He once trained
I
horses.
was given the wrong information. I thought he trained black caviar.
Very good, Sammy.
And he fell foul of one. What's his name? Terry Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did I.
So did everyone.
Don, you're not on the
Is that
drugs.
why he's over in Thailand?
You're not still on Oxycontin they gave you while you're in
No,
hospital.
whatever it is.
So this is Peter Moody. Have I got the right Peter
Yes,
Moody?
you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, the ex-trainer of Black Caviar.
Correct.
Well, that's only one horse. He was a trainer of many and had some exceptional horses
Donald-
and is still training.
Yeah, and Donald, he is the father of 2 girls playing in the AFLW.
And one is
Twins.
and
Yeah.
one is very good.
Playing at Carlton.
And she can jump and play in the ruck.
Yeah.
She's very
And
athletic.
this bloke's from Queensland. He didn't know what AFL was 10 years
Yes,
ago.
but they follow their mother. He's squat and got no neck, whereas the mother has got all the height and athleticism.
Okay.
Well, that, I think, exhausts the horse questions we're going to ask him now. So thanks very much, Peter. Peter said I sat next to him on a plane going to Darwin, never spoke to him,
Well,
which
that's
is an
common.
absolute lie.
No,
it's not a lie.
you are very
It is a
rude.
lie.
You are very rude.
No, I wouldn't bother
Well,
Peter unless he spoke to me out of
We haven't heard
politeness.
from Peter yet.
Well, because you've gone on to...
We'll ask him a question.
Is this the audio of 3 grumpy old men, or
No, this is 3
Two grumpy old
intellectuals.
men, mate.
Did you make a fortune out of training Black Caviar?
no?
There's a simple answer, Don.
What do you mean you
mistraining?
didn't
You want
make
me
a
to think about
fortune?
it?
You would have got 10% of the prize money.
Yeah, but that went in costs. There's a lot
What?
associated with training a horse like that. And,
The owners pay the costs.
yeah, but the trainer has a cost as well.
Well, like what?
Oh, listen, it ramps up everything in your operation, training a great horse like that. And it's a bit, you've seen it over the decades in your industry in football. How many great football clubs have won a premiership and gone broke?
Yeah, but where
badly
would
run
you
ones.
where would you
Yeah.
spend your money when you had your clearing sale? You had 1 million bridles, all blue, so I think they all went that way.
No, listen, a funny thing, training a great horse like Black Caviar, it was quite lucrative, but funny thing for business, she was bad because people stood off you because they felt you were sort of centred on one horse. And we really had to promote the fact that Black Caviar used to win 3 or 4 races a year, but we used to win 200 a year. So we had to really promote that fact that we had a massive business. And Chris Waller's just been through the same thing with Winks. A lot of people don't give you horses at that time when you've got those great horses because sometimes they feel that they're not the centre of attention or their horses aren't the centre of attention, so they stand off you a bit. So as great as she was lucrative for my pocket, she wasn't good for my business.
Peter, did you quit in a huff? Did you just...
Yes.
You did?
Yeah, listen, I was dirty on the world. You're a rooster one day and feather dust to the next, and I thought I was unfairly dealt by authorities that now mainly employ me to promote racing. It's a bit
So
funny,
your
isn't
time over again,
it? Yeah.
would you have bitten your lip and sort of said, I'll ride this out?
No, because time over again, they wanted to disqualify me for 4 years. I fought the charges for 18 months and got it to a 6-month suspension. And I believe I was still, wrongly dealt by. And it's still a scourge on racing. We think the wastage and the way horses are being handled post-race career is disgusting. You want to have a look in the intricacies of the drug rules and the regulations in racing and the pain and suffering that it's causing great people and hurting their great names.
So you need to. I'm a racing person, but you need to explain that to me.
Oh, well, there's a drug called cobalt that
Yes,
was brought
yep.
in, and the regulations brought in about it, which brought about my demise.
And
I'm
Danny
hijacking
O'Brien,
your show
and-
here,
yeah.
and Danny O'Brien, Mark Kavanagh, Terry and Katrina O'Sullivan. But there's people out there, trainers. There was a bloke called Harry Richardson in Toowoomba in Queensland the other day. He got 2 years or 12 months. He's a bloke that slows down on the freeway so he won't squash a bug in his windscreen, and they charge him for giving horses this drug. It's a nonsense drug. It's a thing that they brought in, but I think unfortunately it'll never change while the likes of me and Danny O'Brien are alive because they're terrified of litigation.
Well,
Did it become
we're just
personal?
going to have
Did it
another
become
racing segment,
Johnny?
which is extraordinarily interesting.
Johnny, did it become personal, Peter, with racing authorities and you?
Not as personal as your relationship with Terry Bailey.
There's history.
I won the case and got no money. Gee.
But John's just walked out of the room with the shits because he doesn't like horse racing. But anyhow,
No, but that's typical rude. You've already experienced that.
No, it was a sad indictment on racing, the cobalt issue, and it's one that's still going on today, unfortunately, and unfairly for the participants that are caught up in it.
So did the cobalt allegedly did what?
Well, it was supposed to allegedly enhance the performance of a horse, but that's since...
By?
Oh, I don't know. I think they thought it had some sort of EPO properties, you know,
Okay,
that
okay.
blood.
Yep.
But it's since been proven to be totally incorrect. And all the authorities that brought in the rules have since moved on to different theatres of racing around the world. None of them are still here in
I've
Victoria.
got one more, and then I'll get off
Right.
out of your hair that you don't have. You got any sympathy for Darren Weir?
Darren Weir's a good bloke. I think he's a very good horseman. But I think he's probably the product of an environment that was, a generation ago. So I think, unfortunately, what he's done has probably been blown out of proportion a bit, but he broke the rules. Listen,
He was caught with a jigger before when he was at Stawell, wasn't he? Before he went to Ballarat?
I'm not sure of that, and I'm not aware of that. But put things into context, and I do that. He cheated in a rule at sport. He never raped or murdered a woman or tampered with a child. There's a massive difference there. So don't ostracise. Be realistic in ostracising him, on what he's done or what he's supposedly done.
I'm surprised at your view. I thought most of your confreres thought that cheating just denied them their fair chance at the prize.
Well, I used to get accused of it regularly myself because when I climbed to the top of the tree, people thought I had to cheat to win. And then when I got suspended over the cobalt issue, they believed they were vindicated. But I know I didn't have to cheat. I used to work bloody hard. So I know in some way, shape or form, and I'm asked this myself thinking I should be dirty on them. But putting things into context, there's a lot more worse things that happen in the world than someone cheating in sport, even though if you're involved in that directly yourself.
Will you come back, Peter?
No.
Why?
Because I don't want to.
Why?
That's quick.
I'm enjoying life, Don.
Well, now look, what an articulate man Peter Moody is, having only sat next to him on a plane going to Darwin.
And refusing
10
to
years
speak to
ago.
him,
That's
yeah.
bullshit. But we have stolen, Peter, from Hump Day with Swanee and Friends, so we're going to allow him to leave. And
It's
we're
great
going
to talk, Peter. It is,
It
genuinely.
was extraordinary.
Great to see you, boys. Have a great show.
Thank you very
thank
much.
you, Pete.
Is that Dane Swan over the back there, Sammy, is it?
Dane Swan is about to
How
come
good was
on
he on television a month ago?
Swanee and Hump Day with Swanee and Friends.
Hump Day.
So these are affairs of the week that we
Okay,
are...
well, can I start?
Of course, Mick.
Now, do you know who Nerily Meadows is?
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. She's been given the flick by Fox Footy.
And why?
Well, I don't understand why. Donald, do you?
Do you have a use by? Everybody has a use by date.
Well,
Do you
she's
think
about
that hers
30.
up? Yes, but is hers up?
No, not from. Look, I think she's a talent, Nerily.
She'd have a contract, they'd pay her out, would they?
Well, it's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
I think when you're in
No,
the
it is
media,
irrelevant,
when you're in the
but,
media, Michael, you're only one step away from being sacked anyway.
Why did
You've
you
got
get
to be
sacked?
very, very good to stay.
Well, apparently it's part of a cost-cutting exercise, but I know nothing more than what I've read on Twitter.
I don't think that's right, Mike. You said before off air why she got sacked.
Why did I get sacked? Why did I say? What did I say?
Because they didn't like her.
Gee.
If I did say that off air, what are you doing putting it on here, you big dickhead?
Mick, I'm winding you up. You didn't say that at all. I'm trying to get you to say why someone would sack her.
Well, I don't know the answer to that.
I see. Well, can we speculate why? Was she no good at... Could she not speak?
No, she was good at the job.
Did she not know a subject?
She knew a subject?
Did she train off?
I'm not going there.
Is this an important issue?
Oh, well, you know why it's important, Donald?
Why?
I don't know if it's important, but people are interested because they know her. Because she's on television and we speak to her.
I've never seen her.
Well, you
I
live
haven't
in a
got
cave.
Foxtel. Yeah, but I haven't got Foxtel.
Well, Sammy knows it. You're up with her work, aren't you?
What's that, Mick? What did you... Oh, sorry.
That'll do. Right.
No, all right. Well, I don't know. All the best, merrily, anyhow.
Narrowly. Now, I want to
go merrily on your way, narrowly. Maybe narrowly and I could start a show.
This is for you, Donald.
Yes.
What do you think of the TV networks, particularly Channel 9, and what they've made of Ivan Milat just because he died? What do we need to see this bloke and his life and, just have that...
I am eye for eye.
Finish the question.
Well, he's sort of almost... a
folk hero.
Yeah.
No,
he's
he's
a piece
not.
of shit.
He is.
And
that's what he is.
He should have been put to death.
We had someone text in about a question that we asked from our on Twitter. Why would we bother keeping people like that alive? Why didn't he die a natural death in the jail? What is extraordinary that the man is so arrogant and such a prick that he wouldn't admit to it in the end.
No, I was
just
going to ask both of you
closure.
Would you, if you were in his... Well, we can't envisage what it would be like in that situation because we're not made like that. But was there any point to him saying anything before he died?
Well, only because it would give a bit of
closure
relief
to the
succor
families
and comfort to the people who lost.
Well, why would he be interested in giving them comfort having taken their children away from them?
That's my point. He is such an arrogant person. He wouldn't want to give the authorities what they wanted in the final analysis. Is it?
Did you watch it? Either of you watch any of those shows?
No, I was watching Q&A on the ABC. An extraordinarily good thing about the water resources.
You're a spanner, you are.
a spanner.
This has just happened. The police have now been given different rules of engagement to deal with antisocial behaviour on the roads. That is, people who ram their cars. They're actually allowed to take out their firearms, and if it gets pretty serious, they're allowed to fire a shot. I'm not sure at the people, but maybe at the car or into the air. And this ongoing protest, I see the mining convention. The mining industry is having a convention at Jeff's shed down here, and the climate activists have disrupted the traffic again. This will go on a weekly basis, and they're saying now the coppers, the protesters who have been interviewed, saying they're too heavy-handed and they were very aggressive. Well, thank God the coppers have become aggressive with antisocial behaviour that goes on and on and on.
The protests have become a blockade, haven't they now? And I think
they're making
going to lose their message in this.
I don't know whether they are. They're certainly ramming their point home. I just hope it's peaceful and they don't disturb anybody. But they have got the right to protest, and
exactly
I think they're bringing
doing
it to the fore.
For the sake of this next question, what are they protesting about?
Well, climate change,
and so what's their solution?
Well, they haven't. Well, I haven't heard of one.
They haven't got one. They don't know what they're protesting about.
Now, can I bring something up? I came up today, and it's the worst trip I have had from Murdoch. And I was sitting on the freeway. There was an accident, and I was looking at the median strip.
Yep.
Now, this government or people that are engineers or traffic planners have got no foresight. Why couldn't they put a rail line down the middle of the freeways on those median strips? You could say they're not wide enough. Why weren't they made wide enough? And that would have solved a lot of problems with regard to traffic coming into Melbourne.
So just the devil's advocate Don, would you say that the population and the people who commute into the city on a daily basis wouldn't warrant the expense of putting a train line in down to Red Hill and Arthur's Seat and Portsea and Sorrento?
Well, the cars, John, it was banked up this morning.
Only
An
asking
accident.
the question.
No, because they all go to Frankston, get on at Frankston. They've got to start and extend and use a little bit of foresight. These politicians are really short-sighted. You mentioned politicians are very short-sighted.
And the politicians.
You talked about Q&A last night and the water, Michael. 1952, after the Snowy Mountain dams were built, the engineer suggested he go up near Dubbo or out the and do something with regard to building dams there to control the flow of water going out through the Darling and out through western New South Wales. You know, they knocked him back. That was 1952 and the problems that we've got now. Now, we'll continue to have droughts because that's Australia. But he put a solution forward, but the government back in that time after the Snowy Mountains didn't want to go on with something.
Well done. Could I just say this while we were on the climate change? I saw this on CNN, so it wasn't Fox News, that they said the hole in the ozone layer is getting smaller and smaller, and I know this is a long way off, but they anticipated or they worked out by the year 2080 the hole in the ozone layer would be completely closed and there'd be no hole in the ozone layer. So where does that leave the emissions? Where does that leave the chat about climate disaster and the sea levels rising and the fact that we're going to disintegrate in 10 years?
I'll take that as a statement.
Yes. Oh, you're not a question? Well, I'm reporting what was said on overseas television.
Can I go to a subject closer to your heart?
Yeah, I hope it's about renaming the Yarra.
Well,
what?
You can get to that, but I want to ask you, Tiger Woods won in Japan at the weekend.
Yep.
How important is he to the President's Cup? I mean, if you're running the President's Cup, you would twist his arm up his back till it came off, wouldn't you, to play?
This is hard as you can to find something to dislike about that man and what he's done and his attitude and his sportsmanship.
You read his book and you won't like him.
He is the most charismatic magnet of any sports person in the world. At the crowds that he attracts,
yes,
because when he's up and about, he is a superman.
So you would lean on him, wouldn't you, and say...
You would say, mate, if there's one thing you do before you fall off the edge of this planet, play in the President's Cup.
He'll double the crowds at the President's Cup.
Triple them.
Yeah.
In fact, might even get me to go.
Is he the most... He's the most charismatic sportsman you've seen, is he?
Well, no one comes close on that
Jack
tour.
Nicklaus?
No, currently, Don.
Oh, current.
Walking around, no one comes close to the aura and the... as I say, he's done a lot of things that make you try and not like him, but just to see him doing what he does, he is extraordinary.
I gave you a book about Tiger Woods, didn't I?
A very good book.
It was a very good book, and it was hard to like him after that.
It was hard to like him, but it was extraordinarily well researched and a great credit to the people who put it together.
Okay.
So we've now, day before yesterday, although it's been there for 600 million years, we're not allowed to climb up Ayers Rock. Day before yesterday, we've been stopped doing that.
I know a bloke who hit a golf ball off Ayers Rock.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you been up there, Michael?
No, I haven't, Donald.
It's one of the greatest feats I've done is to walk, because I've got a fear of heights, to walk up that Ayers Rock.
Well, there's a handrail.
I know, and I held onto it, John.
Handrail.
It's a chain, isn't it?
It's a chain.
Yeah.
Chain.
It's a chain.
Oh, well, what's the chain attached to?
Nothing, is
it's attached to posts.
Poles, and you hang on to them. Well, I call that a handrail.
I call it a chain.
Oh, well, it's a chain rail. So
What?
So what?
There's a couple of tough guys over there who want to get on.
Oh, we're finishing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well,
But
they want to rename the Yarra. People want to rename the Yarra to Birrarung.
Yeah.
They've already got a Birramong.
Where do you think this will start and end? Just renaming and reclaiming and rejigging the whole world we live in.
You know, Ayers Rock was renamed to Uluru.
Yeah, in 1993.
No, it doesn't matter. It's had its name changed.
Okay, so this is why I brought this up. So do you think the Yarra River is now about to be renamed? And where does it start and end? They might
You can
rename.
answer that,
They
Don.
might rename you, Mick. You could be
What?
What would I
Albert
be?
Namatjira the third or something. Okay. Well, that's what we've. All right.